page 11, it puts it in the same language that we passed out here concerning the nuclear cost in House Bill 1059. And then if you look on page 14, it just talks about there was a regulatory accounting breaking purposes section. And then I think we didn't pick up section D in this one, but basically if you look at page 11, that's the part which dealt with the nuclear bill, which we had in House Bill 1059. Basically what this says is it allows Dominion to continue with North Anna, recover, write it off during this biennium also, and it differs from what other states are doing. Some of the things that I've been finding out, it differs in that in other states, I know Florida and one other state, maybe Georgia, they're already increased the rates to go ahead and allow a utility to build nuclear power. Here, they will be doing it within the existing base rates without a increase in the base rates, and that's basically what the bill does. Delegate Marshall.
Mr. Chairman, looking at line 522, section D, substitute, it appears that its language has not been changed as the last one that you had.
Well, and the last one is the one that we had discovered. That see that that was already in delegates Senator Saslaw's bill, so it wasn't ever changed in this one. So we were just trying to make sure that you got to change it in one of them. And that's it. It deals with the nuclear side. Anybody that would wish to briefly speak in favor of the bill?
Mr. Chairman, John Russell, behalf of the Dominion. This is the same matter that you looked at in House Bill 1059. This is the amendments are what provide us with the regulatory certainty we need to go forward with nuclear. As the chairman pointed out, this is coming through base rates. This is not coming through a rate increase or a rider. We certainly appreciate your continuing support of the measure.
All right, those against?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Steve Hayner, New Shipbuilding, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. I'll just take another minute or two of your time. And Delegate Spruill, I'll explain to the 500 shipbuilders in your district that you were patient and let me do so. Plus about 50.
I got a good job. I'm a top from Horizon.
Okay. I would disagree with a couple of things I've heard from the podium here. This is very different than what was done down south. Down south, no money was paid on those plants until those plants had certifications and construction was beginning. That's a major difference. This bill, in my opinion, has very little to do with North Anna and has a lot to do with the next rate case. This bill accomplishes 4 things for Dominion. And I understand why they want to do them. They're all good things for Dominion. Number 1, it basically makes it impossible for the case to come out with a finding that they've had excess earnings. That does, number 1, it means that there will not be any rate credits. You could be looking at $200 or $300 million in rate credits. Remember, nothing's changed. They're still at excessive rates according to the SEC's own analysis. So no rate credits in 2015. It also means no finding of excess earnings in 2015, which means no change in the base rates until 2019. The third thing it does, which is understandable, is it shifts the risk on North Anna 3. There's a lot of risk on North Anna 3. That's a big plant, which they may not build. They're still not promising today that they're going to actually build this plant. So it shifts the risk from their shareholders to their ratepayers. Not all of the risk, not the bulk of the risk, but $400 million worth of risk is shifting from the shareholders to the ratepayers. That's an understandable goal of theirs, but you can understand why I'm not going to support that. And the fourth thing it does, which sort of ties into what we talked about on Senator Saslaw's bill, is it sends a signal to the commission that rules being what they are, and the rules you folks pass down here being what they are, if they don't like the way the case comes out, if they don't like the way they see the case coming out in advance, they'll just come down here and change the rules. And They have the ability to do that, and you folks have the ability to do that for them. But I appreciate the opportunity to stand up on behalf of my company and on behalf of our 24,000 employees and on behalf of our probably 500 supplier companies around the state and say we really wish you wouldn't do that to us. We wish you would let us just run by the rules that we've got, and that's how we got where it is.
But there's still no guarantee you get a refund. You keep talking about this blue sky, blue sky scenario where you get this big refund, but there's no guarantee you get a refund.
Mr. Chairman, there's no guarantees in life at all, but as of right now, based on the facts as they exist, and based on the SEC's analysis, there's an excellent chance. An excellent chance. I'd say a pretty high number, better than the lottery chance, that everybody in this room is.
It's not too good a chance.
Far better than that. The SEC does what it does based on a long-standing analysis of the books. They know the company almost as well as the company does itself. And I'm sure the company knows exactly where they are financially. The rate period we're talking about is almost over. I mean, it's only got 10 more months to run, so they know where they are. I think we're taking money out of people's pockets here.
Doug, you do?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, Trainer said, Dominion's doing this is good for Dominion. We should do stuff that's good for Dominion. I think we should need to do what's good for them. In the end, it's probably good for consumers because what we're getting is diverse power generation. We're getting reliable power, which is what I've referenced in the earlier bills, which is what we really need to make sure that people are getting power regularly, that we're not just relying on natural gas. Obviously, we're going to have a problem with coal, continue with coal because we're getting squeezed from the EPA in here. And I do appreciate Mr. Hammers. I mean, he's been very energetic and is concerned about this bill, and I appreciate that. Actually, I really respect what you've done. But my question, every time there's a problem with a bill, it's interesting. You get 40 people knocking your door down. I haven't had 40 people knocking my door down with this one. I've had one. He's done it well and repeatedly. But if it was such a problem for all the other consumers or the other big companies, utility or users of this, you think you would have heard from them also, and it happens. So I'm just intrigued.
You're going to hear from a couple more.
I think, Mr. Chairman, me, Brother Attorney General's Division of Consumer Counsel, I will try to be brief, because I know you've heard a lot from me on this as well. I would say, in response to Doug Pinko's comments, it's Air Office's responsibility to represent the interests of consumers who may or may not be aware of what is in their interest in these cases. Certainly, unlike situations with Appalachian Power, for example, where the rates were going up and customers were already upset. That's not really so much the case with Dominion. But of course, the Commission's standard for regulated rates is not a complaint-driven or affordability standard. It's just a reasonable cost, and that's based on what earned returns are. And even if rates aren't going up, if the earned returns are not or exceeding a fair return, then under public utility regulatory law, every state that's cost of service regulated, that means the rates are going up. But again, very briefly, also just wants to be on record again that we continue to oppose the bill, and the primary reason is that we believe it manipulates the timing of when costs are going to be recognized in the review rate cases in a manner that will have the effect of frustrating the intended operation of the 2007 Act. That is when companies earning below its authorized returns entitled to a rate increase, if it's earning above its authorized return, rate payers are entitled to rate credits. So again, as succinctly as I can state, we are views on the bill. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello,
Yeah.
my name is Erica Gray. Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. As a ratepayer and a citizen here, I agree with the gentleman as goes for putting us citizens on the hook for Unit 3 at North Anna. But it's more than that. I attend the NRC meetings. I've attended the waste confidence meetings. We are way far away from deciding where waste is going to go. So all the waste that we continue to make, we're going to be stuck with, which means our future children's children, my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, et cetera. North Anna is built on a fault line. We know this, past history. to put a third reactor there is irresponsible. Back in November, Dominion signed us up to be a test site for the new dry cask for a high burnout fuel, which the NRC has allowed industry to go to this high burnout fuel, which is more enriched and stays in the reactor longer. What we're finding out is the casks that were designed were not designed for this fuel. So we actually have a lot of this fuel that we don't really know what to do with. So Dominion has put us on the hook for being a test site at North Anna for this new dry cask that they're going to try out. It's like a 10-year program. I don't understand why we want to continue to make this waste where it's nowhere to go, as it goes for the waste confidence ruling. Yucca Mountain, even if it was suitable, which it's not, it'd be full. So actually, federal department, Senate Bill 1240, is looking for states to raise its hand and say, we'll be interim storage of nuclear waste. Obviously, we don't want to be that. But as a citizen, why would we want to put the ratepayers and citizens in jeopardy of putting a third reactor on the fault line? It's a bad idea. I didn't make enough copies, but it does show what that earthquake looked like. And we had 450 aftershocks, and then a tritium leak after there that exceeded the EPA limits. This is a bad deal for Virginians and our future children, and to be stuck with this waste, which cost, by the way, are not included in all of this. So please be reasonable, and let's not move forward and not prepay for what Dominion's done without really talking to Virginians about, do we want to invest in this, and do we want to take the risk? I don't, and I believe most Virginians would agree. Thank you. I didn't make enough copies, but if y'all would share.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I won't detain us long, Mr. Chairman, but I wanted to add the Virginia Committee for Fair Utility Rates and the Illinois Committee for Fair Utility Rates continued opposition to this proposal, and to speak in particular to this notion that it's somehow hypothetical that the rates are too high. The finding by the Commission in November of $280 million per year in revenues that exceed costs, or $560 million over 2 years if you multiply that by 2. Okay, we're talking about more than $500 million here. That was a finding of fact. That was the product of a fully litigated, fully contested case with really good experts going at it, and a dispassionate and expert commission making a decision based on evidentiary record. That is not someone sticking a finger in the wind and deciding, well, this is a projection of what it might be. The rates, according to the commission on page 21 of the order, are designed to collect $280 million per year in revenues that exceed costs, including a reasonable return. That's what was found. And this bill is designed to make it impossible for customers to receive any refunds in the next case of excess earnings, or a rate reduction in the one after that. And that's what was promised in 2007. And that was the model.
I'd address a couple of the items if I could. Just wanted to address Mr. Hinger's remarks on the other states. Just want you to understand that in Florida, there is a recovery through a rate adjustment clause that was adopted in 2006. There is no combined operating license that has been issued in Florida at the present time. The construction is actually on hold and the rider continues. So there's a substantial advanced recovery that's going on there. In Georgia, there is a recovery through a rate adjustment clause that was issued in advance of the combined operating license. In South Carolina, there's a cost recovery in advance of the combined operating license. So in all three states where they are pursuing nuclear power, there's been an opportunity to recover the cost well in advance of the combined operating license. With regard to the waste issue, there's adequate and safe storage for the waste on the site of North Anna for the life of the plant. and there's no issues from that regard. And with regard to the commission's order, that was a projection. It was based on the assumption that there were no storms, that there was increased revenue and decreased cost as a way of looking to the future of what the cost would actually be. Dominion's earnings are going to be determined by the commission in the biennial proceeding. That's what they do, and they'll have the actual figures when they go there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Larry, you go? Mr. Chairman, move to report. Got a second? All right, anybody else? Members prepared to vote on electronic voting board? All right. Clerk will close the vote, Senate Bill 459, report 17-1. I thank you all.